All right, what is up, guys? NA4 here, and welcome back to another movie review. And today we're going to be talking about none other than Superman. You see the shirt, you see the backdrop, you've seen the thumbnail, you've seen the title. So let's not beat around the bush here. Uh, Also, if you enjoy this kind of content, definitely feel free to drop a like on this video, share the video, subscribe if you would like. I would appreciate it, and it's free. It won't cost you a dime. But without further ado, ladies and gents, let's hop straight into it. Now, this is a very interesting movie to talk about because although the critics seem to really love it, fans seem to be a bit split. I've seen a bunch of mixed reception online. Um, some people really, really like it, saying that, oh, it's peak cinema, one of the best superhero movies, the best Superman movie up to date, while a lot of other people are like, it's kind of underwhelmed. Eh, didn't live up to my expectations. Oh no, it's bad. Don't go see it. Waste of money. So it's kind of interesting. I would say go see it for yourself to kind of voice your own opinion, unless you're just gonna wait for it to come out on streaming because movies these days will go straight to digital and streaming within like a month, if even. So who knows? But honestly, it wasn't a movie that I was necessarily excited for or anything like that. I wasn't really anticipating this movie. Just because I'm not a big Superman guy, if I'm being honest. I never was, even as a kid. As we know, Batman and Superman are like the two big faces of the DC, brand. And I was always more of a Batman guy. I always preferred Batman over Superman. And honestly, this movie I enjoyed. I did. I liked it, but I didn't love it. Like I said, I've seen a lot of people saying it's peak, it's great, it's amazing, it's a masterpiece, and that's their opinion. Shout out to them. But I didn't have that same feeling. Like I said, I think it's a good movie. I do. I think it's good. I've seen a lot of people kind of dragging this movie online. It's not bad at all, honestly. There's plenty of action. It's well acted. It's a good looking movie. Um, there's a lot going for it. James Gunn has a very specific style and a very specific type of comedy. So if you like his previous work, especially with like the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, then you'll like this movie. I think the tone and the humor is very James Gunn-esque. So if you like his work, this movie will probably leave you satisfied. But if you don't really like the way that he does his films, it might not be for you. Uh, there are lots of jokes that didn't quite land for me. There are some funny ones, especially with Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. He was really funny. Uh, there's lots of good and there's a little bit of bad in this movie. A lot of the good stuff is the action sequences are really, really good. It's well paced. I do like that the side characters actually have something to do. It's not just Superman has to save the day. It proves that he does need help. Um, which I think is good, because if you make a movie where it's just Superman is completely invincible, no one can stop him, he's just crazy, overpowered, I think that would lead to a pretty boring movie. So I'm glad that this movie does show that, sometimes he needs help. He's not super invincible. But that's also one of the flaws for this movie, unfortunately, because you would think a guy with super strength, super speed, flight abilities, ice breath, laser heat vision, you would think he'd be unstoppable, but this man was getting his ass whooped like maybe 80% of this movie. I'm just like, if I was a kid and I was watching this, I'd just be like, man, this Superman guy really ain't it. But I don't know, man. Maybe that's just me. But I do think this movie shines with its characters. I would say like Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, Hawk Girl, Mr. Terrific. They were scene stealers. Every scene that they were in, it was entertaining. It was fun. You wanted to see more of them. Um, Same with Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. Um, I was a little skeptical at first, man. The beginning of the movie, I was kind of like, I don't know if he's the right fit. I don't know if he embodies Lex Luthor like that. But it's not how you start the race; it's how you finish it. And at the end of the movie, I was like, "Yo, he's legit. He's a menace. He is a menace. He might not be able to beat Superman physically, but he's a genius, man. He's gonna figure out a way to manipulate, scheme, and do everything. And he did that to a T. It's definitely a hater, S tier hater, but it's entertaining. It was fun. So shout out to Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. um, Lois Lane was pretty fine too. Uh, Literally. No, she did a good job. I honestly, that's an interesting take because I felt like every character in this movie I enjoyed more than Superman himself. Like, how weird is that? But I don't know. Like I said, I did really enjoy this movie. I don't have many negatives, but it's definitely not a perfect movie. There's a lot of the humor that just doesn't land for me. Um, and I didn't necessarily love um some of the scenes, some of the fight scenes, like the CGI looked a bit wonky. Not too much, but it kind of gave like the Flash kind of visuals, which is not a good thing at all. That is not a good thing. Luckily, it's not as bad as the Flash movies visuals were, but there were maybe like a scene or two where I was like, "Ooh, that didn't look great." But like I said, I think this movie is it's a fun time. It's something that I can see myself watching again, but it's not something that I'm going to be craving. It's not something that I'm going to be like joining the Superman bandwagon on, you know what I mean? Um, so like I said, I can understand some people's criticisms, but to say that it's a bad movie is just ridiculous. It's not bad at all. There's way worse comic book movies out there, and this isn't in that category. But I will say I do think it's a step in the right direction. It's definitely not the worst movie that DC has produced, but it's not fantastic. My mind wasn't blown necessarily. But if I had to give this movie a ranking, personally, I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. Maybe I got to rewatch it. There was a bunch of kids in the theater on a field trip watching the movie, so they were a bit distracting. So maybe that's it. And like I said, I'm not the biggest Superman fan, but yep, that's my ranking. Please feel free to drop a like, share, subscribe if you are new. I'm NA4 and I am out. Peace.